Hello, I'm Radhika. I was born and raised in the Hare Krishna movement in India and various parts of the world. Today I'm going to talk about karma. So let's first off start with what is karma? A lot of people think of karma and they think things like karma's a bitch, or what goes around comes around, or instant karma when you punch your sister and then you trip and fall and smack your face on the ground and she's like, haha, instant karma. That never happened. There are many different religions and cultures that have some kind of concept of karma. Buddhism, Hinduism, even in some other religions or cultures where they say things like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth and stuff like that. Hinduism takes that to a whole other level. They have a whole very complex sort of philosophy in there, or at least they try to make it complex. In reality, it's not that complex, but the more crap they add in there, it sounds more interesting and complicated, and so it must be true. So what is karma? Karma really is that what you do comes back to you. You do good, then good things will happen to you. You do bad, then bad things will happen to you. So that's the most basic principle of karma. Add an extra layer to it and put in reincarnation, and you have things that you did in your last life that result in your karma in this life. So whatever you're going through in your life, it's your karma. Whatever suffering or joy or good fortune that you have, it's a result of what you have done in previous lives. And this can go pretty far back. Here's an excerpt from a website called dandavats.com. When Dhritarashtra asked Krishna why he had to witness the death of his 100 sons, then Krishna informed him that his past life sins had fructified in this life. 100 lifetimes back, he was a hunter and had killed 100 offsprings of a bird, and so in this life, his 100 sons got killed in the Mahabharat war. But why after 50 lifetimes? Dhritarashtra asked. Krishna then said that it was because it took 50 lifetimes for pious activities to get 100 sons. Hindus and Vaishnavas, well, mostly Vaishnavas, Hare Krishnas, tell you that the only way that you can break free from the cycle of karma, because everything you do, you get back to you, so that means that you're just continuously going to be reincarnating from one life to another, one body to another, and you're always going to have to live with whatever you've done. Okay, makes sense, sort of. But here's the extra thing. If you want to break free of that cycle, if you want to be liberated, if you want your soul to be liberated from this material life, you have to surrender to Krishna. Laws of karma are very complicated, and it is very difficult for us to understand. This is from the Bhagavad Gita 4.17. Our previous sins are present as seed. It can fructify any time. The only way to burn our sins is by taking shelter of Krishna, and Krishna promises us that he will completely burn all our previous sins. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. So, there you have it. Surrender to Krishna and you'll be free from the cycle of birth and death. Sounds good, right? So what could possibly be wrong with it? I'm going to read out some excerpts from Hare Krishna websites and you can see for yourself where it starts to go wrong. Since everything is based on a cause, it is one's karma that will determine one's situation, such as race, color, sex, or area of the world in which one will appear, or whether one is born in a rich family, or be healthy or unhealthy, etc., etc. Knowing the law of karma, we can understand that no one is really innocent. Although we appear innocent at birth, the consequences of our past deeds reveal themselves in time. What are they saying here? What does this mean? What they're saying is that babies that are born with autism deserve it. Black people that are born in a racist society deserve it. People who are raped deserve it. Children that have leukemia deserve it. Sick people deserve it. Poor people deserve it. Quote, if your karma is not to be rich or happy, you can struggle as much as you want, but you won't get anywhere. The law of karma basically means that if you are an impoverished kid in Africa, slowly starving to death, then you deserve it, and no matter how much you try, you will never improve your life. People born into poor families or in poor countries are fulfilling their karma just as rich people are. The law of karma dictates that if it If it's someone's karma to be poor, they can't change that. They can never change that, no matter how hard they work. So why attempt to help people in impoverished countries? Why try to eradicate racism if people are born black because of their karma? Why try to eradicate misogyny if people are born female because of their karma? What's the point in trying to change anything if the outcome is already established based on something we did in our previous lives? That is the law of karma. Make no effort to help anyone because they deserve the suffering that they got. Karma helps keep the status quo. And if you need any concrete proof of that, just take a look at the caste system in India. The whole system is designed to keep the Shudras and the Dalits at the bottom, and the only way that they can continue to enforce that is by preaching this law of karma. You get what you deserve. You're born into the family that you're supposed to be born in. If you're poor, you stay poor. If you're uneducated, you stay uneducated, and you never rise above your lowly position in life. Meanwhile, the Brahmins are having a great time at the top, getting money from everybody else. And that is all enforced by karma. Great system. Karma prevents people who are suffering from attempting to improve their lives. You see this with the Dalits, you see this with the Shudras, you also see this with women and other people who suffer in any way because of an unjust system. For example, victims of domestic violence. They are taught to stay with their abusive partners because it's their karma. You married this person, and even though this person is a complete asshole, you have to stay with that person because it's your karma, and you have to complete your duty in life, your dharma, and that's the only way that you will attain liberation or moksha. And Krishna will be pleased with you because you did what you were supposed to do. You fulfilled your karma. Yeah, even though you're like completely battered and feel like shit and you had a shitty life, but hey, you're a good person. In addition to this, rape survivors are discouraged from calling the police and seeking justice for their abuse because it was their karma to get raped. So deal with it. This is a real thing. Victims of abuse and violence who were brought up believing in karma have reported that they felt they deserved their suffering because they must have done something in their past life or in some other time that they can't even remember and got what was due. And unless the belief in karma is rejected, it is very unlikely that these victims, even the ones who seek therapy, will recover. So karma may sound like a nice idea, but in reality it is unethical and insidious. Think of it this way. If Hindus didn't believe in karma, would they really be okay with the caste system? Would they have any excuse to treat the Dalits the way they do? No. Karma enables abuse and allows people to get away with atrocities. It makes us passive and encourages us to accept the bad things instead of striving to change them or improve them. And one of the problems with karma is that it makes sense to people who don't think critically. It gives them a sense of purpose and offers an easy answer to the question, why do some people suffer and some don't? What is my answer to that question? It's just the way nature works. Some people are born sick. It's terrible, it's brutal, but it's the way it is. That does not mean that we can't attempt to ease our suffering and the suffering of others. On the contrary, as moral human beings, I feel that it is our duty to care for others and attempt to improve their lives. It is our moral obligation to attempt to eradicate poverty, racism, sexism, and all of the injustices of human society, and also try to find cures for all of the diseases we come across. One of the contradictions that you find, though, is that karma means that we're responsible for everything that happens to us. But in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna's preaching about karma yoga in chapter 3, what he says here, the bewildered spirit soul under the influence of the three modes of material nature thinks himself the doer of activities, which are in actuality carried out by nature. How does that work? Like, that's a huge contradiction right there. Krishna's saying that we're not the doers, but somehow we have to take responsibility for our karma and for everything we do. That's really confusing. And it is confusing to a lot of Hare Krishnas too. Let me give you an example of that. I have a letter that a Hare Krishna man, wrote to his wife years after they separated because he was extremely abusive. He was beating her up. He was neglecting her and his kids. He would go off for months, just disappear while they were starving and they didn't have any money. So I'm just going to show you how they think sometimes. He says, why Lord Krishna allowed you to go through this kind of punishment and humiliation is beyond my ability to understand. So somehow, him abusing her and neglecting his kids and his wife and cheating on her and all that crap somehow Krishna allowed that, and he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand why Krishna allowed this to happen to his wife that he was abusing. It's just so confusing. I don't understand why Krishna allowed me to beat the shit out of you. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. Ugh. This man continued to write to his wife, to his ex-wife, for like 3 or 4 pages about how he's such a fallen soul and how he didn't realize. And what does he do? Does he at any point say, I hurt you and I will now repent for that, or I will change my ways? No, at no point does he ever say, I will change my ways. What does he do? He says, I've managed to get into this mess, and it's all due to my inflated false ego. Nothing else. Again, not taking responsibility. Not, I did this and I'm a bad person and I should improve. It's all due to my inflated false ego. Nothing else. It's all due to this Maya going on up here. Not me being an asshole. This is such a typical thing that I heard when I was a Hare Krishna. People not taking responsibility, saying, I've done this and now I'm going to try to change. No, oh, this is all due to my false ego. I'm a fallen soul. Gurus who slept with their disciples. Oh, he's fallen down. He's fallen into Maya. Whatever. It's all a pile of bullshit. And all this because even though they're supposed to take responsibility for their karma, at the same time, it's like, but we're all working under the modes of material nature, and Krishna is in control, and, you know, we just have to surrender to him humbly, and whatever happens, happens. So I'm going to end this video by saying that I don't think karma is a real thing. I think it's an elaborate hoax. It's a whole lot of bullshit in order to keep people under control, in order to allow people in power to continue to stay in power, and allow people who are victims to continue being victims. Let's not ever help anybody, let's just keep them down, and let's never actually seek justice in our life now. You know, let's wait until he gets his karma in his next life. No, if somebody is a criminal, or they've done something bad to another person, or if the system of our society and our government is corrupt and unfair, then we should try to change that now. Not wait until these bad people get their karma. No. We change it, and we do it now. And we take our lives and our society into our own hands. That is, I think, the higher moral ground. That is the way we should be as moral human beings. Not believing that karma will sort things out in the end. No. So that's it for now. Until next time. Ciao.